Good afternoon, everyone. It is indeed a pleasure for us to welcome you to today's professional development session. And I am going to let Nicole introduce our special guest, Stuart Buckley from Student Accessibility Services. Thank you, Stuart, for joining in with us. I hope we have many more coming up. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Judy. Yes, so we do have Mr. Stuart Buckley here from the Student Accessibility Services Office, and today we're going to present on read and write software. So I'm going to hand it over to him.
Welcome everybody to our read and write presentation today. Okay, excellent. All right. So first of all, we're going to run through what is read and write and just briefly talk about it. And then we're going to go and we're going to actually give you a demonstration of all the different tools on the read and write toolbar and how they can be applied. We've got about 40 to 45 minutes today, so we're going to have to go fairly quickly to get through everything, but we'll cover what we can, and then we'll have a follow-up presentation at some point to go a little bit deeper in detail. Okay, so let's get started. So read and write is part of our Universal Design for Learning initiative. We want to find tools that are useful for students with disabilities. This one is particularly useful for students with learning disabilities, things like dyslexia. Some of our students with mild visual impairments this would work for, and a broad range of other students. But we also want these things to be tools that can be used for any student. So it reduces the stigma of using a piece of assistive technology and just makes it a mainstream tool that's useful to everybody. And one of my aims today is to make sure that you can see that. You can see how this can apply to everybody, including faculty. And this will be a useful tool for everybody. I'm sure people can find at least one thing in here that they like. So some of the populations that this would particularly be useful for are students with learning disabilities, as I said, dyslexia. But beyond dyslexia and some of our mild visual impairments and some of our other learning disabilities, also students who have English as a second language could definitely benefit from this kind of software to strengthen their English skills. What platforms is this available on? The nice thing about Read and Write is it is available on a lot of different platforms. I prefer the Windows and the Mac and platforms, and also the Chrome. But it is available within browsers. The experience will be slightly different, but within Chrome, Windows, and Mac, it's all pretty similar, and it gives you pretty much the same tools. I'd like to mention that Chrome is particularly good because if you're running a Chromebook or a very low power computer, you can run this on a Chrome toolbar, and it gives you pretty much all the same tools, and it's a really nice way to use it. But today we'll be demonstrating with the Windows version. Who can use Read and Write? Well, the nice thing about this is it's open to anybody at the university, providing you have an FAU net ID, you can use it. So that's staff, faculty, and students. The nice thing about this software also is we can use this for students with online learning. So, you know, if they're remotely with us, they're not on site, they can still go ahead and download this software and use it at home at their own convenience. They don't have to come into a lab and use this software. So it's available site-wide. So this is how you're going to find how to download the software. You're going to go to the Student Accessibility Services webpage. So I usually just like to Google SAS FAU. That's usually the quickest way to get there. And you're going to find that there's a red navigation bar, and on the top right of the red navigation bar, you're going to see a tab that says Technology. In that drop-down menu, you're going to see Read and Write. I'm going to see if I can pull this up in Chrome here. See if we can get a web browser up. I'll show you how you can go ahead and download it. Okay, so here's the web page. Go in Technology, in Read and Write. I'll just widen this a little bit. Here we go. And as you scroll down in the web page, you're going to see there's a couple of kind of quick start download buttons here. On the left, we've got Read and Write for Windows. On the right, we've got Read and Write for Mac. And as you go down further in the page, you'll be able to find some other download links for Chrome and for Edge and Internet Explorer. You can also find some links to tutorials here. So if you go to this second button down, we have links to various tutorials, and we've got one here that's just, this is a nice one I like. It's a quick start guide that we adapted, and it just shows you what all the buttons are and what they do if you just want one of those quick cheat sheets. Okay. We've also got some video tutorials. These are very basic, but there's just some quick video tutorials that I recorded recently. They're much of the stuff that I'm going to be covering today, so you'll be able to go back and review. They're all captions, so if you open them up in YouTube by clicking at the top, open up full screen and click the CC button, you can see captions on those. Okay. So I'm just going to give you a quick intro to the tools, and then we're going to jump in and use some of the tools, show you how we apply them. So firstly, one of the most popular things that people use in this software is the ability to read files. And we can read Word files, PDF files, and we can also read web pages. So we can create audio from anything on the fly. We have the ability to use this button to open up a PDF, and it uses a specific PDF browser, and that will allow us to read. We have typical play buttons, stop, pause. Then we have highlighted tools. These you're going to see in a minute are very useful. We can actually highlight areas of text as we're reading it, and we can extract all that text at the end. We can look up word definitions. So if we can just stop on a word. If we don't understand that word, we can look it up on the fly, no going to find a dictionary or anything like that. And it will actually read the word back to us too, and the definition. Word prediction, so this allows us to, for somebody who has difficulty with writing, they can actually start to type the word much as you would do on your phone, and it will try and predict what word what word they're looking for, and it will actually read the word back to them, so they can listen to the phonological sound of that word. We have the ability to scan, so we can actually hook up a scanner to our laptop or our desktop computer, and we can scan a page, and then we can actually get it converted into digital format, and it will then allow us to use it and read it back to us. We can also do optical character recognition on other documents. We can use a snapshot reader, which allows us to take a completely inaccessible piece of text in a web page, in a picture, and we can extract that and turn it into digital text, which is very, very useful. We also have screen masking. So this will allow us to put an overlay, a colored overlay over the screen, or just a colored overlay over the line in question. This helps reading speed or helps anyone with tracking difficulties. Then we have the ability to turn files into audio MP3 files. So if we wanted to listen to them in the car or something like that, we could do that, or take them with us to the gym, for instance. We have the ability to create vocabulary lists. We can select a bunch of different words and we can extract them into a vocabulary list for study, and I'll show you how to do that afterwards. We also can create audio notes within a document. So if we have a Word document, we can just insert speech notes into that document. So there's audio that plays back when we click on an icon. We have a lot of extra settings too, which are kind of down under the hood. They make a nice simple interface with this software that is very fast and easy to use, but we can actually dig down into much more advanced tools if we need them. And then this is the Chrome toolbar, which is very similar. It's got all the same tools. The icons look a little different, but it's basically the same. So again, this can be used on a Chromebook. So let's jump right in and we'll start showing you how some of these tools work.
Okay, so just really briefly, I wanted to, as he's pulling that up, I wanted to let everyone know that in our online template that Stuart provides, we do include information on how students can download this software. We have all of the links to the videos and tutorials that Mr. Buckley had just presented to us. So it's in the template. If you want help on putting that into your course, or Mr. Buckley is going to go over the demonstration of those tools. If you have any questions, please go ahead and raise your hand. If there's a particular tool that really interests you or anything like that, go ahead and raise your hand, let us know, ask questions, and Ashley, our moderator, will be able to unmute your mic.
Thank you, Nicole. So I'll take you through what I consider to be some of the best tools first, and we'll kind of go in that order. So first of all, we're going to look at the PDF reading tool. So to use this tool, I would go to the PDF icon on the toolbar. It's about slightly to the right of the center, and it says PDF on it. So we're going to click on that, and it allows us to open up this PDF browser. So I'm just going to pick the file here. So I've pulled out a typical journal article. We're going to open that up. Okay, we've got our journal article open. And what we can do is we can click anywhere in the file, and by default, this will actually start reading. But if we click this this icon in the top left-hand corner. This will actually turn on and off the auto reading. Let's try and read this.
So basically what he was showing was when you select the PDF reader, it reads out loud the text that's on the screen. Can it read in foreign languages was the question.
Yes, I believe it can. And also what we can do is translate sections of text too, from English and to English from other languages. And there's a pretty comprehensive language dictionary in the software.
That was a really great question. So there are additional tools besides the one that we're going to show you today. It's a very robust tool. So if you have any questions like that, please go ahead and raise your hand. Let us know.
So you saw how we can read PDFs in here. What I want to show you next, this is one of my favorite tools, is we can actually create highlights. So as I'm reading through my article here, and I find something interesting, I can use different color highlighters to highlight it. So for instance, if we go through into the beginning of the article and I say, okay, I want this sentence here, or this paragraph here, we can actually use a colored highlighter. And as we move through our document, we can choose different colors for a different hierarchy of importance. So I might say that this part here is a bit more important, so I might use blue for this. And as I continue through my chapter, my book, or my journal article, I might find another part of interest as I'm researching, and this may be something that's even more important, so I may want to use green. You could also use this if you're a student for you could use one color for maybe what you think is going to be on the quiz, the pop quiz for the week, or the exam, or some other color for what's going to be in your paper. But when I'm using a journal article, I like to use a hierarchy of what I'm more likely to use. And then I'll use the purple color for titles. I mean, you don't have to do it this way, but you kind of find your own system as you go. So here's an example of each bit of highlighting here, and we'll just do one more. So we'll just take a chunk of text out here, and we'll do this one yellow. Now, what's nice about this is you get to the end of reading your article, and you can click on this icon on the right-hand side. It's like a circle of colored arrows, and this allows us to collect highlights. So we're going to click on that. And what it's going to do is it's going to open up a Word document, and it's going to extract all of those highlights into it, and it's going to create a little bibliography at the bottom. Now, the bibliography does depend on the title of the document that you use. So if you have appropriately titled documents, it's going to pull that out as a correct bibliography. So right now we can see that this has opened up the Word document. And you see here's all our different colored highlights that have been extracted. And here's our bibliography at the bottom. So I think this is incredibly powerful as a tool for studying. We can also use this with students to help them take notes better. So if they type up notes in a class, then they can go through with a tool like this and they can highlight their notes, and they can, learn by using colors, they can learn what's more important, and what's less important, and then, extract that. So there's lots of creative ways you can use this particular tool. Now, if you want to erase the highlights, I'm just going to go ahead and close this quickly here. If you want to erase the highlights, it's just as simple as selecting the highlights, and then we will just click on this erase tool here. Oh, I hit the wrong one, sorry, excuse me. Here's the erase tool to the left of the collect highlights tool. And there we go, we've erased our highlights. So to read the PDF, we would just go into any section of the PDF. I'm just going to pick a random section here, and I would click somewhere I want to start, and then I would just click play. So it's kind of like your old VCR. You have the play button here, and we can just click on play. And hopefully you can hear that reading. And the nice thing is it highlights it too. So we find with some of our students who have difficulty with paying attention, some of our students with ADHD, this kind of helps them because they put a pair of headphones on, they listen to it, they see the tracking on the screen. So it really draws their attention to the document. And some people just have a learning preference. Some of the research that was done with like Dr. Neil Fleming, he was looking at learning preferences of students, found that some students, they would like to see visually, some students would like to listen, some students would like to do both. A lot of, particularly in my student population, we don't get as many traditional read-write type students. They're very kinesthetic. They tend to really learn best from audio. So a tool like this can be really useful for that.
We also have a question.
Yes.
It's for a comment. I see that because you have the highlights and you have the audio at the same time. And for language people like us, this is a great tool for pronunciation.
Oh,
So,
good.
Foreign language.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That brings up a lot of great possibilities there. And it would be nice to see your input as you see the different tools in here, how you could apply it creatively in your classroom. And I think that's the key to this. Everyone's got their own take and everyone's got their own creative way of using it. And that's what I just love to see.
We have one more question.
Absolutely.
Can you change the pace of the reading speed?
Can we change the pace of the reading speed? We absolutely can. Let's do that next. I think that's a great segue. So in the top right-hand corner of the toolbar, there's 3 vertical white lines. If we click on those, this opens up the settings panel. Now, this is, as I said before, where you get under the hood. This is where you adjust everything once you get to that level of feeling comfortable. A few of the most basic commands are up here, but I'm going to show you how to get to the rest of the commands. We will go to Show More Settings. That's down towards the bottom. So as I click on Show More Settings, you'll see a few more basic settings, but there's 2 ways to get to everything. One way is on the left-hand side column, we have a blue column with white lettering, and you're going to see all the different categories marked in there, and we can click on any of those to go to it. But what is also useful is we can actually type in what we're looking for if we don't know where to go. So if we type in speech, we should get those settings. So we get some speech settings here, but I'll show you the way.
I think it's under speed. When you type in SPE, I think it came up.
Okay, let's try that. There we go. Thank you, Nicole. So as you see, once we type in, we find here's our speech settings. So we can actually drag this to the right to go faster. We can drag the speed bar to the left to go slower, and we can change our voices in here too. So yeah, this is where we find things. Now, if we go into the speech area on the left here, you'll see that you might see a few different things here. Here's the menu with the different voices. It's a drop-down menu. One of my students, he's a mature student, and he says, he has dyslexia, he says he does better when he listens to an Australian female accent. He says he takes in more, he learns more. So everyone's got a preference for the accent they like to listen to. So, whatever works, right? So yeah, absolutely.
Flash comment.
Yeah.
There is the translator I see there. How good is that? Is that like Google Translate or better?
It's like Google Translate, and I think it uses that engine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, there's still work to do, and so at least you can tell if people are cheating. So the last thing I'll show you in here, and I'll go to Translate next, I think, is we can look at word definitions. So if we just let's see if I can find a word in here. So let's find it. We'll just take this word. So I took the word confidence. If I click on the little picture of the book, it's 3 from the left on the toolbar. This is the dictionary icon, or definitions. If we click on that, we should get a little definitions pane come up. So this gives us a window, and we can actually see the definitions, but we can actually get them read aloud. So if we just click on the definition and click play, and there is an advanced setting in here. If we turn the advanced button on at the top, we actually get some more definitions in here. It just goes to more advanced level. And for the K through 12 area, which we don't deal with as much, but some of our education majors might, there's also ability to turn on a picture dictionary. So it'll pull clip art pictures of whatever that word is. So it's obviously going to be for simpler words, but still, it could be useful in some settings. And actually languages could be useful in too. All right. So that's definitions. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And I'm going to show you, I'll show you Translate next, since we have a bit of interest in that. So to use this, we're going to open up a Word document. Okay, and I'm going to type a sentence in English. So I've typed, hello, my name is Stuart, I work at a university. So the first step is to highlight what I would like to translate. And then we go up to this translate icon at the top here. It's looks like 2 arrows crisscrossing over. And I'll show you how to change the languages. I've got this set to go from English to French right now. So we're going to click on that because French sounds nice. Not that German doesn't. To German people, right? So what we can do is we see it's done a translation here. And we can actually listen to this just by clicking on this little play icon. And we should hear bonjour any second now. Okay, so that's how we use the translate button. I'm going to show you how to change the languages. We have a colorful variety of languages, including Urdu and Hindi, and quite a few others in here. We go up again to the top right-hand side to the three vertical bars. We click on that, and then go down to the bottom, show more settings. And I'm going to go to speech, actually translator. So if I go to translate, this is pretty easy interface on this one. Here's your languages. So just to give you a kind of sense of what's in here, we can see some of the languages here. There's quite a wide range in here: Italian, Japanese, Korean, really the usual kind of languages. So yeah, that's how to translate. Okay. I'm going to close that out. So the next one I'm going to show you, because I think this could be used perhaps with languages too, is vocabulary list. So I'm going to open up a PDF again. Again, I go to the PDF icon to open it up. Then I go to choose my file. For this one, I chose a section out of a book on medical diagnosis. Something that some of our medical or nursing students might use. Now, to create a vocabulary list allows us to select a group of words and then extract them out into a Word document, into a table, so that we can then study them and write notes on those particular words in order to learn them more effectively. So first of all, we're going to select a few words. So actually, first of all, we want to go to the top left-hand corner and turn off the auto read. And I'm going to just click on some words and highlight them. I just lost my toolbar, so I'm just going to bring that back up again. Okay, so I'm going to click on some words, and it doesn't matter what highlighter color you use. This should, let's see. It's a little quirky with running this through WebEx, but you'll find it's a little bit better when you use it on your own computer. Selecting my third word here. Normally this toolbar will be visible the whole time. Okay, so we've just got 4 words. It can be as many as you want. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the vocabulary tool, which is towards the right-hand end, and it's called vocabulary lists. And if we click on this, it's going to generate a Word document with a table with all our words. Now it's going to add definitions in. Depending on what's available, some of the more complex words it might have trouble with, but we'll see what kind of job it's going to do. Whoops. So as you can see, we have a vocabulary list automatically generated. It generated definitions and included them. But what I really like is we have this notes section on the right-hand side, so we can click notes for each of these words that we're trying to learn. And we could even cut and paste pictures into here, if that helps the learning process too. So I'm particularly thinking of our friends here who are in the language departments. I think this is something that could possibly be used in that area. But I think there's a few other areas where this would be beneficial.
We have a question.
Yes.
Someone says, can you also use the translator for an article as well as for things that you create or type?
I believe you can. Yeah, I'll have to test that. I haven't tried it in an article yet, but I believe you can.
Another question.
No, if it's Google Translate, in some kind of articles you would get the gist of it. Sometimes it makes awful mistakes.
Yeah. So. Especially if it's more than one word, right?
Yeah. And sometimes it can translate sentences and all that. For definitions, it's good, but for structure and syntax and all that, it can be very bad.
Right.
So not rely on it.
Yeah, so we've heard from our language experts here in the session that do not rely on this completely 100%, because it is using the Google Translate engine. So So yeah, so it does a reasonable job, but not always 100% accurate.
Here's another question.
Yes.
In the vocabulary list, grab the definitions that you had in your original list, or would you have to cut and paste them?
I think you'd have to cut and paste those ones, yeah, because it's pulling these from like the Google dictionary. And you can actually change the dictionaries it pulls from. All right. So let's show you another useful tool. This one is a snapshot reader. So this is a way of grabbing pieces of inaccessible text and making them accessible and readable, which can be a challenge sometimes. So what I'm going to do is pull up a piece of text. So typically, you know, this is a good example. If we go to Amazon Books and we see this Look Inside article in here, as we go to it, we have these segments of books. Now, of course, we can't select this text. It's completely unreadable. And this is one issue that some of our students have had with some of the online books, the e-text books. They can't read them with a screen reader because there's no way to select and read the text. This gets around that. This is a powerful tool. What we can do is we can just draw a rectangle around the area of text that we want to read, and it's going to extract it and read it. Now, we can extract it to a Word document and read it, or we can just read it within the software itself, just on the fly. So it depends on what you're doing. If you're just getting a little bit of information that you're collecting, then you might want to use the Word document. So you can use it either way. And again, go into the tools, advanced settings, and you'll find how to switch it between Word documents and just the native reader. But I'm going to show you how to extract it to a Word document. So as you can see here, we've got our completely unreadable text. And you know, it's not you can see it's not a particularly great image. It's a little blurry, but it still seems to do a pretty good job usually. So on the toolbar, I'm going to select this tool. It's a little bit to the left of the center. It's a dotted square with a arrow in the middle. So I'm going to click on that tool, and it's just going to allow me to draw a rectangle around the section of text that I want to process. So I draw my rectangle. I just let go of the mouse. And right now it's processing. Of course, it depends on how much text you have as to how quickly it's going to process. And here it's opened up our Word document, and here's our text. And we can just go in now, and we can read this. And what I love is it even keeps the formatting of the document.
Thank you, and thank you, Stuart, for bringing us so much wonderful information. We definitely will need a part 2 of this session. And meanwhile, I think all of us are going to try out this one so we can come to the next one with questions. So thank all of you for joining us this week. We truly appreciate it.